that you're talking about my music. Sounds like you're a Trump supporter. What an insult!
That's literally the meanest thing anyone has ever said to me. And I worked at Progression. Hey guys, welcome to the Honesty Issue. I'm Katie.
I'm Sky.
And we're going to be talking about sexual assault.
Heavy topic.
Sexual assault is pretty much just the title for any kind of rape, molestation, unwanted sexual advances.
It's very vague.
Yeah, it's just basically anything that is sexual and unwanted. It's pretty much what sexual assault is.
Non-consensual.
Sexual abuse is the same thing, but it's reoccurring.
Yeah, on a consistent basis. That can be more like molesting or rape.
Sexual harassment is usually in a social environment or in a workplace environment, and it usually means kind of what you hear in the news, like inappropriate jokes being made, unwanted advances towards usually a female.
Comments on the street, things shouted at you. Catcalling, even if it's like the slightest comment or if it's a really brief moment, it's still sexual harassment.
I think we'll talk a little bit about our personal experience.
I haven't had too much experience with this topic. I don't feel like I'm really qualified to talk about it. I have been groped in my life. I have been assaulted in my life, but it's not... I feel bad for saying it didn't impact me as much, but it was just kind of earlier in my life so that it was kind of repressed. But it was a very serious issue.
Yes.
And I did go to my parents about it, and they did what was needed to be done. They talked to the other parents of the individual. How awkward is that? Like, hey, I heard your son groped my daughter. But yeah, I have very little experience with the matter.
I was sexually abused for about 3.5 to 4 years in my home, and the police did not believe me at all, nor have they ever, so that's great.
Cool, I'm just gonna cry right here. Which is not to say that it's bad to go to your parents.
No, it's not bad to go to your parents. You should do it, to at least say that you tried. To at least say that you took those steps so you don't regret that you didn't do that. My sexual abuse was frequent and it was painful. I was definitely most often raped. And the fact that it was in my own home made it very difficult, and I felt very unsafe all the time, and I just thought it was normal. And then I moved in with my dad and stepmom and repressed everything until I forgot. And then I did a form of therapy called EMDR, formed about 5 memories from the abuse that are with me constantly.
I'm gonna have to cut right here because I don't want to continue.
Why?
Because I don't want the repercussions of this.
I want to do it though.
I know you do.
So let me do it.
Okay. This is for you. You better appreciate it.
I gained back all the memories, well, 5 of them, and then I was then able to deal with them in therapy and work through them. While it kind of sucked remembering all of them, I would be way far back in my recovery if I hadn't gone to therapy and remembered everything. So it was hard, but it was worth it. What to do after you are sexually assaulted? What is the first step?
First step is to seriously open up to someone that you trust. This isn't hinting around at the issue. What happened to you is serious, no matter what it was. If you are feeling down enough, deeply affected by this, then you need to talk to somebody.
Well, I didn't have the best experience telling a family member or the police right away. It's definitely the right action to take, even if it doesn't turn out well. You should definitely tell an adult that you trust, and you should absolutely file a police report. However, there is no pressure to press charges. I don't. Like, that's not something that you have to do and go through, but it is important to get it out to people who are trained to help.
Because whether or not you think that you can handle this on your own,
you can.
It's going to be better if you are with company that is trained to know how to handle these issues and how to help you cope.
After an assault has taken place, for a while, definitely the most frequent things that will happen are flashbacks and nightmares. And they're terrible, but they are not real. A lot of times your brain will trick you into thinking they're real. But your assault or abuse does not define who you are. It's not who you are as a person. It's just something that happened in your life, and I wish I could take my own advice, but it is difficult. But those things are completely normal. There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. Those are just
isn't your fault.
Natural things that will happen. It's just your body's natural reaction to this trauma.
Our bodies aren't used to handling trauma. Take a second to realize that this was in no part your fault and there's nothing more that you could have done except for taking care of yourself afterwards. That is the most important thing that you can do.
The biggest thing with recovery regarding sexual assault is talking about it. Talking about it and talking about it often. I hate talking about it.
I wanted to address how I have seen sexual assault affect someone. Caitlin is a very, very important person to me. She's one of the best friends I've ever had, and it kills me to see that this has impacted her life so much. And when I talk to friends or people reading my writing and saying that they can relate to, these horrible events or the consequences that they're going through because of that mental trial, it kills me to hear that. And it hurts even more not to know how to help. And so what I would strongly suggest in helping out these loved ones with trauma is just to always literally have an open door. Always open arms, always ears ready to listen, even just to ask soft questions. Hey, how are you doing? Or how are you feeling? And helping them realize that there are good moments without this. That there are times in their life where they're not thinking about it, where it doesn't affect them, and they can live an entire life without that.
Something I want to say before we sign off is that if you have been sexually assaulted in any way, shape, or form, I know Schuyler's already said this, but you didn't do anything to deserve it. I've spent years of my life thinking that I deserved it, and I didn't. And it wasn't my fault, even though sometimes my brain tries to tell me that. But I know that it feels like you had... It feels like someone took something very personal from you. But you do not have to let them take away your whole life. Don't live in fear every day. It's okay to be more cautious. I think I spent a lot, and I still do spend a lot of my time living in fear that I'm going to be hurt again. But I'm not in a dangerous situation by any means. I'm in a very safe place. It just takes time for your brain to realize that. There's going to be days where it affects you more than others, and that has to be okay. That doesn't mean that you're moving backwards. It doesn't mean that you're letting it control your life. It just means you're having a hard day. Don't get stuck in just going through the motions of this trauma.
Speaking up is what we're here for, because we know it doesn't get any better when you're quiet.
By all means, if you want to talk about it,
we're here.
Yeah, we're here. But talk to whoever you trust the most. Maybe it's easier to talk to strangers. I don't know. But we're always here. Email, Twitter, Facebook,
Tumblr.
If you're on Tumblr, behave. Tumblr is a very dangerous place.
Why are you looking at me for this?
Tumblr will even warn you. They'll be like, is everything okay? And
oh
you have to click yes.
Oh my gosh, yes! Okay.
I hate it when it pops up because I'm like, no Tumblr, I always say everything is not okay.
Sweet. I thought it was really nice. I was like, oh, thanks for checking in, Tumblr. Yes, I am really sad. I'm gonna look at this anyway.
You can reach us on any of those social media, and all of our social media addresses are in the description box below.
Yeah. We have merch!
Oh yeah, we have merch. We have shirts. We should go get them because they're way cute. Woo! And we already ordered ours. We love you guys, and it's not your fault. It was never your fault.
Love yourself.
Okay, back to talking about your feelings.
Oh, you little nugget. In other words, there's this really creepy guy that's messaging me